The highest officer in the U.S. military has just issued a scathing critique of American so-called strategic communication efforts in Afghanistan and the Muslim world, writing that the gap between promised improvements and actual developments harms the credibility of the U.S. message. In an article written for Joint Force Quarterly, a military publication, Admiral Mike Mullen says that U.S. efforts in Afghanistan and elsewhere to send a positive message about U.S. military action and development efforts hurt U.S. credibility when they do not coincide with what the populace sees on the ground. Mullen's criticism comes as U.S. officials have acknowledged the U.S. is losing the war of ideas against its Taliban and al-Qaida enemies. In an effort to bolster its image as Barack Obama ramps up the war in Afghanistan, the administration has established a $150 million effort to train Afghan and Pakistani journalists to set up radio stations and produce pamphlets, posters, and CDs, lambasting Islamic fundamentalist militants. Mullen, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, described, quote, a certain arrogance to U.S. strategic communication efforts. He wrote, quote, "We've come to believe that messages are something we can launch downrange like a rocket, something we can fire for effect. They are not. Good communication runs both ways. It's not about telling our story. We must also be better listeners." By contrast, Mullen wrote, the Taliban forces match rhetoric with action. Quote, "They aren't just out there shooting videos, they deliver." He noted that the Taliban has improved governance in certain areas, establishing courts, assessing and collecting taxes, and giving local populations avenues to express grievances.